Well, hello, my lovely lilies. I don't know about you, but I find scarecrows creepy, eerie, and downright scary. There's something about walking through the fields and stumbling upon a decayed-looking corpse hanging on a pole that could make your blood run cold. Have you ever just looked at them and thought, I wonder if there's a story lying under the surface? This story might make you think. Without further ado, close the blinds, dim those lights, cuddle under your favorite blanket, and let's begin. Sunset had fallen on the countryside, and the warmth of the day was fading with each passing moment. Vespers of an autumn breeze whispered through the fields, saying the amber stalks of corn into a somber dance. Yet with each swaying step, two interlopers were revealed, standing stark and defiant against the motion of their surroundings. In seeing their still forms, one might almost believe that they never breathed nor blinked. Such was certainly the common belief, perhaps shared even by the figures themselves, which made it all the more surprising when one of them spoke. "Oh, my arm hurts, Frank." The second figure remained motionless, though a flicker of expression may have crossed its face. "Frank, my arm hurts." "Dang it, Jed." With a shuffling of cloth and straw, Frank turned to face his partner.
"When they sent you here, they said you were the best choice. You said you knew the rules. Now shut up before someone hears you."
Silence returned to the field, broken only by the rustling of currents through the corn. Even a nearby stream, which bubbled happily in the hours of daylight, seemed to have hushed itself in preparation for the dusk. This night was an important one, and its task was all but sacred.
"Aw, who's gonna hear us, Frank?" "It's not the point. What matters is if someone did, we ain't supposed to talk."
Jed considered this, though the contents of his head were hardly suited to higher reasoning.
"Well, so what? It's a stupid job anyways. Ain't nobody passed yet that hasn't laughed at us."
Frank sighed, removed his hat, and scratched at his leathery skin.
"Look, Jed, that may very well be. Fact is, it don't matter one bit. It's got to be done. You understand me?"
"No."
"Good, you..." "What the heck you mean, no? Ain't no one ever told you the story?"
The straw around Jed's neck made a rasping noise as he shook his head. "Folks keep saying I'll learn it when I have the need. I've been starting to think they don't know it themselves."
"Oh, they know it all right."
Frank cleared his throat and made a spitting motion at the ground, though his lips remained dry.
"They know it, sure as they know their mamas. Just that, well, it ain't exactly pleasant talk."
He sighed again, as much from the frustration of having to speak as from the thought of his next words.
"See, there was a time, some many years ago, when these fields were beset by plague. Not a plague of illness, mind you, no. This plague came as winged beasts from the sky. Black as night they were, with voices like something from a nightmare."
"Crows?" whispered Jed. His eyes scanned what little of the horizon he could see beyond the cornfield. I've heard tell of them. Figured they were children's tales." Frank shifted his weight, adjusting the rigid stick on which he rested his arms.
"That they may be, but there's a truth in stories. Crows are real enough, even if one scarcely hears of them in anything but legend these days. Back when the terror was at hand, they descend on these fields and eat their fill, leaving precious little for folks who toiled with their seed. It brought a hardship on the land, leaving everyone desperate.
My arm still hurts, Frank.
We're talking, ain't we? Have a rest. Heck, sit down for all it matters now.
Oh, thanks, Frank.
Jed dropped from his post and crumpled to the ground, suddenly looking very much like a lifeless pile of rags.
So what happened, Frank?
Though he opened his mouth to speak, Frank hesitated. On any other night, the words were just a story, but on this night, they might be something more. You keep a listen for anything amiss, all right? Jed nodded, and Frank resumed his tale. It was a dark time, to be sure, dark enough that some reckoning they might employ, a darkness of their own. He closed his eyes and recited the secret verse, known only to those who stood watch in the field. Gathered they the walls of green, left to dry by day, shaped into a sentinel in clothing that was hay, set upon the torment fields against the demon's call, given life by darkness, the men knocked by straw, gave to them the hollow charge upon the darkest night, paid the price of vigilance when absent was the light. Gathered they one of the young for empty demons' crawl, taken by the darkness, the men of naught but straw.
Straw men?
Whispered Jed.
Straw men like us, Frank?
Frank's expression grew colder as he shook his head. Don't you be thinking that way. The straw men were something other than living, Jed. Scared the crows away, they did, but at a terrible cost. They were dead inside, you see, stayed where they were meant to, like statues, set for one night a year, when they'd come alive and have a reaping. Only it weren't corn they were taking away, but a child. One child left outside past sunset.
Children are outside past sunset all the time, Frank.
Not on this night, Frank hissed. He lowered his voice even further. On this night, the children wear masks. The straw men can't see those who hide their eyes, not unless they look at the straw men first. Jed fell silent, chastised. The sky had darkened considerably, with only the most tenacious rays of dying light still piercing the walls of corn. Somewhere in the distance, a woman's voice called out for her son.
Hey, Frank?
What?
I still don't get it, Frank.
Frank sighed yet again. Don't get what?
Why we're out here? Why we got to stand here like this? Why folks laugh at us? I mean, we're strong men, right, Frank?
In response, Frank launched a kick at his companion's leg.
Ow! What'd you gonna do that for, Frank?
If you was a strong man, Frank said, do you reckon that would have hurt? So how can you be a strong man?
Well, I mean, it's pretend, ain't it, Frank? I fill my clothes with straw and I play make-believe, right?
Frank tapped a gloved hand against the side of his hat. Up here it might be pretend, but here, he thumped his fist against his chest, making his stuffed shirt crackle. It's all real. That's what it means, Jed. He swung his arms wide, gesturing to the fields around him. You want to know why you're out here? It's so that the fear don't come back. Even one child being taken keeps the terror festering, keeps folks in mourning. Might as well have the crows back. But if someone goes and stands watch, then the strong men don't come walking. They can all rest easy. They can laugh at their fear and get on with their lives. Now do you get it?
I get it, Frank.
Jed hurriedly replied.
I'm here to stand watch. I get it.
Good. Now back up on your post. We got a long night ahead.
Jed retook his position, and Frank readjusted his own. The wind had died with the sunlight, leaving the cornfields completely still. "Hey, Frank."
Shut up.
"Sorry." Jed closed his mouth. "Only, what happens to them, Frank? To the children?"
What children?
"You know," pushed Jed.
The children that they take away."
Frank turned to regard his companion. The poor boy was hardly out of his youth, with only the barest hint of stubble on his chin. Even in the darkness, an earnest innocence twinkled in his eyes.
"You sure you want to know, Jed?"
Jed turned to meet Frank's gaze. "Yeah, Frank, I'm sure." As he had done before, Frank reached up to remove his hat. Only this time, his entire head came away, leaving a rigid cluster of yellow streaming from his shirt.
"They become straw men, Jed. They become straw men."
Alright, my lovely lilies, thank you so much for watching the new video. If you can, hit that subscribe and like button, comment below and tell me your thoughts. Also, don't forget to tap the little notification bell so you're always in the know on this channel. As well, guys, you can always find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and always you can hit me up in my emails. Feel free to send me your stories, whether they're fiction or totally true. I'm always up for some great stories. And oh, by the way, until next time, sweet dreams.